We finally got to hear Eric Bieniemy. For all this time, I thought maybe he was mute. I thought maybe that's what the problem was when people say, well, he's not a great communicator. He doesn't do well on interviews. I heard Eric Bieniemy yesterday. He was introduced as the Washington Commandos' brand new offensive coordinator. I don't get it. If the notion was he doesn't do well in interviews, that wasn't planned. That wasn't scripted. That wasn't a guy looking at notes. That was a guy well aware of who he is. Very articulate, very smart, a great communicator. I don't know what he's like in front of 53 guys in the locker room, but for a guy that played the sport at a very high level, I imagine he's probably pretty good in that setting, so I don't get it. I don't get how the rub on him all these years was, well, he's not a great communicator. Well, he doesn't interview well. That looks like a guy to me that probably interviewed great, right? And I love that line. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It sounds like a Nas line. Sleep is the cousin of death, which is a story for another day. That being said, New York State of mind, yes, I don't get it.
Yeah, look, I've always said this with the National Football League. Everyone has a label. I don't care what role you sit in, you're going to be labeled something, so your value is devalued.
But who's doing the labeling? Who is anti-Bieniemy? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I guess we can say whomever he's interviewed with, they're anti-Eric Bieniemy. But for me, like this doesn't show me a whole lot. Like, I'm going to just be honest. Like, I don't know Eric Bieniemy personally. He's obviously a good offensive coordinator from what we've been able to see as far as his connection with Patrick Mahomes, that offense, Andy Reid. We know Andy Reid ran a lot of things, but offensive coordinators have a lot to say. My thing is the situation that he's going into is very uncomfortable.
Sure, he doesn't have a quarterback.
Yep. He does not have a quarterback.
He's got a dysfunctional franchise, and an owner that's about to sell, all that stuff.
Exactly. And so for me, that's the odd part. Like, you go to Washington out of all places, no quarterback, and I love Ron Rivera, but did we all watch last season?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, did we all hear one of his last interviews, not even knowing if his team could be eliminated? Like, this is a coach that everyone loves and reveres, but also is kind of on the hot seat. So
sure he is.
What happens if your offense is a reason why this team isn't successful immediately?
Yeah.
Because this is a team that has to be successful immediately.
Well, look, I still don't understand the lateral move other than I want to be successful without people giving credit to the head coach.
Correct.
I get that aspect of it. But what bothers me is that we've all been told, and I think we've been sold a bill of goods, that Eric Bieniemy doesn't represent himself well. I've never met the man either. I know he's a part of 5 straight AFC championship games. Yeah. He's been to 3 Super Bowls, won 2 of them. Yeah, you want to give Mahomes all the credit? I'm good with that. You want to give Reid a lot of the credit? I'm good with that. But what I'm not good with is someone along the way started a rumor, a story, that this guy doesn't represent himself well when in an interview. And I just watched a guy publicly speak, which is a very difficult thing for the far majority of people.
Yes, it is.
Command a press conference, talk off the cuff, talk extemporaneously, make complete sense to me, and I respect that. And that's a guy I want to watch. I want to play for a guy like that. So I want to know who started the rumors and why. Because I think that guy has unfairly not been given an opportunity. As much as I don't like anything about Washington, including a lot of the buildings there, which don't make any sense to me, because I'm not a Freemason, I don't get the construction of them. What? That being the case, I want him to do well. Yeah. I want him to prove everybody wrong. I do.
Do you think this has to do with just the spotty pass? I know it's a long time ago, but the spotty pass that he had.
I think early on, yes. He has a dark past, a violent past as well. But he's also now been 20 years out since those things happened, and no one has said a bad word about him since then. And as a guy who is living proof of getting second chances, at some point the past is the past. And you have to be allowed to re-earn respect and trust and admiration and be given responsibility. And it looks like in this second chance at life that he's gotten, he's done all those things.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, you bring up a good point, but he has done everything to not remove, because you can't remove your past.
It's part of who you are.
But to distance yourself and to show that, you know what, that was what I did. It's not who I am currently today. And Eric Bieniemy, I'm with you. I do want him to be successful. I want him to thrive. I think the idea of him not interviewing well and not representing himself well, it's definitely someone who said something, who felt the type of way during an interview that's like, obviously, who is in a position to where their words carry weight.
Yep.
And so the moment they say, well, I didn't like the way he interviewed, he came in and he wasn't quite prepared. He didn't say what was expected, what I wanted to hear. Let's be honest, that's typically what it is. When you get interviewed and you're applying for a job, they want to hear certain things.
And then what happens is the guys that hire get together at their fancy country clubs, and someone goes, hey, how'd Bieniemy do? Oh, man, you don't want any part of that.
Exactly.
And then it spreads like wildfire, much like Aaron Rodgers emerging from his underground igloo in Oregon. And here's why the whole thing was a bunch of crap. Because we were told that he was going there for clarity, self-cleansing, be one with nature, figure himself out, hear himself think, all the nonsense that hippies do, right? And that when he emerged from that process, he would be ready. He would have the clarity. He would have the vision to tell the world, I want to be a Packer. I want to get out of Green Bay. I want to go to Vegas. I want to go to the New York Jets. And you know what he didn't say? He's like, whoa. That was a lot of me. I got to go on vacation. So, and I got to tell you, I feel bad for Packer fans. I feel bad for Jet fans. I feel bad for Raider fans. Because every one of us thought when he emerged, he was going to come out of the underground, Hobbit-like home, and he was going to say, I want to thank you all for waiting for me. This is a very long, arduous process. I wanted to be here for 4 days, but 2 days of me was enough for me. And if you want to see what this place looked like, guys can put up real quick, just so you know exactly what I'm talking about here. So it's built into like a mountainside or like a rock thing.
Looks like Stranger
You've got
Things.
a meditation towel there. You've got a little bed. You got a toilet. All the trappings of a studio apartment in New York City, basically, for a lot less money, right?
Yeah.
And he came out of that, and he had no answers. And this is why all this guy cares about is attention. It's always about me, 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 me. We all eat right out of the palm of his hands. We all thought when Aaron Rodgers came out of that dopey place, he was going to announce what he wanted to do. But he didn't. And again, I'm a Jet fan. I don't want him anyway. But a lot of Jet fans do. Raider fans do.
We do.
Obviously, Packer fans do. And to me, the more you think about it, the decision is so easy, it's comical. You stay right there in Green Bay. You make $50 million this year. It gives you a chance to win a Super Bowl and with far greater ease than playing in the AFC does. You end your career as a one-team superstar, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. And the notion of going to the AFC never made sense, doesn't make sense, and I just think he's holding everybody hostage because he likes it. He likes to turn on the TV and hear people talking about him because none of us know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He's staying in Green Bay.
Yeah, the last part is exactly right. Like, none of us know what we're talking about.
Right.
Because the moment we say anything, he's going to debunk it. No, that's not what I said. That's all the talking heads are speaking without really knowing, or they don't have any relationship or tie with who my team is and representation, all those things. The one thing I will say is, seriously, did we not expect this?
It's exactly what we expected.
Like, seriously, come on now.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.